You know who's the real MVP of this movie? That damn dog. Dogs are the best. Prey is the newest Predator prequel movie that stars Amber Midthunder as Naru. And this is the origin story of the Predator in the world of the Comanche Nation over 300 years ago. Naru, a skilled female warrior, fights to protect her tribe against one of the first highly evolved predators to land on Earth. Now, going into this movie, I was pretty excited because I am a fan of the Predator franchise. The first movie is obviously a classic, not the best thing in the world, but I do have a fun time with it. And aside from maybe Predator 2, and we don't talk about the Alien vs. Predator movies, I really enjoyed these movies. And coming out of Prey, I don't think I could have asked for a better Predator movie. In all honesty, this is one of the best movies of the year. It's not perfect, but it is a damn good time. And that makes me so happy to say, because this is not 20th century's first try at a reboot for the Predator franchise. Because they have tried to reboot this franchise multiple times now, and they haven't really succeeded. Up until now, I feel if we get more movies like this, like a follow-up to this one, I would not be opposed to it. But it's a movie that doesn't need a sequel as well. Because in all honesty, it stands perfectly on its own. It doesn't worry about setting up more movies. It just worries about telling a contained, intense Predator story. And that's one of the things I loved about it. It's a fairly quiet, subdued movie. It starts off slow. There's not much dialogue. And I watched this in the English version as opposed to the Comanche version. I didn't really have a preference, but I just figured I'd watch the English one to start. I very quickly caught on to how great of a story it was telling about jealousy and living up to family standards, or more so not living up to those standards, and also being overshadowed by an older sibling. Because while those themes didn't necessarily resonate with me personally, they shine throughout. And like I said, this is an intense movie. The action sequences are pulse pounding. I was on the edge of my seat. They are directed so well by Dan Trachtenberg, who I just want to say does a great job with this movie. His directing is a standout throughout the entire movie, and the cinematography is gorgeous. It at times looked like you're watching a National Geographic documentary. And our main character, Naru, played by Amber Midthunder, she was superb. Her character is fleshed out. Again, they take time to develop the story, develop the themes, develop her arc. And throughout the movie, you can just see as she progresses into a total badass warrior. I was totally rooting for her character, and she was a pretty good protagonist. The visual effects are surprisingly terrific. And I say surprisingly because I thought that this was going to be like a straight to Hulu movie and not have the best visual effects. I thought the budget was maybe going to be chopped down a little bit. But I do wish this movie went to theaters because I can't imagine how good of a theater experience I would have had. But there are a lot of animals in this movie, and that's what the visual effects shine, I feel. Because there's stuff like bears and animals that our characters are hunting down. And then you have the Predator itself. The majority of it is prosthetics, and that's wonderful. But you know, when it does go invisible, some of the visual effects I feel are put to the test. And I thought for what they gave us, it was pretty impressive. It's also a very violent movie. It is not afraid to get brutal. There's lots of blood. I'm glad that it went for the R rating. There have been times where the Predator movies have been scaled back a little bit, but this one just goes all out. And the last big thing I have to say is that they use specific sequences so well to the play off later in the movie. A lot of the best directors and storytellers will have scenes that play out early in the movie, whether that's the first or the second act. And that could be a character facing a challenge, or in this case they use a trap. And sometimes you can tell when it's going to be paid off later in the movie. Sometimes the camera will pan on a specific object. Here, Trachtenberg uses a specific scene in the mud, for example, or like I mentioned, the scene where a character gets stuck in a trap. Because later on, that kind of catches up to them, or they can use it to their advantage. I just really appreciated how they use those scenes effectively to have even more of a payoff later. Like I mentioned, I don't think it's the best thing ever. I think there are some moments that are dragged out. The second act can drag a little bit. And some of the Alien and Predator movies have a tendency to use lines in the classics, like for example, get to the chopper. And they tried that a little too many times here, like it was a little wink at the camera, like, haha, we know that you're fans. And I'm like, okay, you could have just left that out there. But aside from that, this is one of the best action horror thrillers of the year. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed the action sequences, the pulse pounding nature of them. Dan Trachtenberg just gives this movie his all. He doesn't try to set up more movies, he just does what he can with this one movie. That's so important to me specifically in a world where I feel like so many movies are trying to set up a world or another movie. This is a contained thriller. You see the return of Predator, he's obviously creepy. This is an intense, but it's also a little subdued movie. I can't recommend it enough. I'm gonna give Prey a B+. I'm really happy that this movie turned out as well as it did, but if you enjoyed this movie, let me know your thoughts on it down below in the comment section. Even if you didn't enjoy it, let me know. And one more quick thing, I've watched the entire Alien and Predator universe. I will be ranking all 13 movies coming very soon, so make sure to check out the channel for that. But thank you so much for watching this review, and if you did enjoy it, consider giving it a like, as well as subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell to be notified whenever new videos like this go live. As always, look forward to more videos coming soon. My name is Ben, people call me Meter, and I'll see you guys in the next one.